Hi guys, I hope you can hear me. If you can, please type yes in the comments. So this is our session on SQL basics. Today we'll be discussing some of the basics of SQL. I'll be diving deeper. I'll be diving straight into the queries. How do you write SQL queries? And performing basic joins on some sample questions that I have based on the data that we have here. I will explain everything. Today is our first session on analytics. Based on the first session and the participation of it, we will host other sessions. Now, tomorrow I will discuss the questions that might be asked in the interviews. But what we are doing today is also relevant for what we are going to do tomorrow. So, yes, I'm going to start with the session. Yes, again, if I am not audible, let me know. Please message on the YouTube chat the questions that you might have. As for now, I'm just going to start the session. Okay. So here, if you can see, okay. Also, one more thing. Yesterday you had my video on. Today you'll not be having my video on. I don't think it's needed. In case it is needed, you can also let me know in the comment. Regarding the background noise is just for the from the fans of my laptop. So I think it will be there. Okay. Anywho, so let us first understand the data. So let's understand what the data is about. So first let's look at orders. So there are order IDs, there are unique order IDs for which there are customer IDs, there are employee IDs, and there are order dates and shipper ID. So what would a customer ID denote? Details of a customer. What kind of details? So if you have a customer ID, you can get the customer name, you can get the contact name, you can get the address, and you can get the city, the postal code, and the country of the customer. Again, let's go to the orders table. We saw that for a particular order, that is for a particular order ID, we have a customer ID, and we can go to the customers table and we can find all the details about the customer, right? Similarly, in the orders table, we have employee ID. So which employee processed which order? So that also we can see as we have our employees table, and for our corresponding employee ID, we have the notes, the first name, the last name, the birth date, and the photo. Everything is there for us to look at. Similarly, we have order date and shipper ID. So we can find the shipper details as well, and we can find the order date as well. So let's see how to write some basic SQL queries. So for example, when I select the orders table, it's automatically says select star from orders. If I select some other table, it says select star from employees. Basically, this is how you write the most basic SQL queries. Select star. Star is a wildcard. So select everything from the table called employees. This is how you write a table in this particular editor. You don't have to write every table name in square brackets, but for a particular table here in this editor on W3 schools, you have to write employees in the square brackets. So this is our basic data. Let's again look at all the tables. We have the customer data. We have the categories regarding the category ID. The unique column is the category ID. For the employees table, the unique column is the employee ID. The unique column for a table is also called the primary key. So the primary key in customers table is the customer ID. The primary key in the categories table is the category ID. The primary key in the employees table is the employee ID. The primary key in the order details table, if you see, the primary key would be order detail ID and not order ID. So order details ID is the primary key. Order ID is the foreign key. What do you mean by a foreign key? A primary key of another table if present in another table, however in a non-unique manner, is called the foreign key. So order ID is the primary key of the orders table, and it is present in the order details table as the foreign key. Similarly, product ID is the foreign key, which is the primary key to the products table, and the quantity is a data value, right? Continuing with orders. So in orders, we have order ID, customer ID, employee ID, order detail, order date, and shipper ID. So can you guys quickly tell me in the orders table which columns are the foreign key, which columns are the foreign key, and which columns are the primary key? That is, which column has unique values and is unique for every row, that is the primary key, and the foreign key is the primary key to another table. So quickly tell me in the comment section, I'll give you 2 minutes, what is the primary key in the orders table and what is the foreign key in the orders table. Both are mentioned here. All are mentioned here. This is the orders table. This is the layout of the orders table. Take 2 minutes. Please give me the answer. So many of you guessed correctly. Customer ID, employee ID, and shipper ID are the foreign keys, and order ID is the primary key, right? Now, let's go to the products table. In the products table, it will be very simple. Product ID, supplier ID, category ID, unit, price, and product name. So rest all the tables should be intuitive. Let's look at the shippers table. There are 3 rows, and the suppliers table has somewhat 29 rows. So the number of rows are also mentioned here as records. So all the rows in SQL are called records, right? And all the columns are called fields. You can also call them records, whatever you want to call them. But records or records, it is the same thing. It is the field, it is the row, and the column is called the field. Okay. So this is what the basic structure, what is the basic layout of SQL. Now we can see a simple query. Before that, I just want to draw your attention that orders and order details are what we call the data tables, because we have the main data in orders and order details table. However, the other tables are related to lookup tables. They are called the lookup tables, that you look up the values that you need in the data tables regarding the ID, regarding the foreign keys from the data tables, right? So there are two kinds of tables, data tables and lookup tables. So here we will operate on the data tables. Now let's look at a question that we want to solve. It is a very simple question that can be asked from such a data. And this is quite related to a data analyst job. For example, in my job, if I was given this data, this would be a totally valid hypothesis or a valid analysis to run on the data. So this is the kind of work that you will be doing in your company if you join as an SQL analyst or a data analyst, which is the same thing. So write a query to make the following table and sort by descending on customer count. So I need the city wise list, city, and then the country in which the city is based, and of all the cities I need the customer count and the total orders from all those customers. So for example, the city of Berlin can have 5 customers and it can have total orders as much worth. So this is what I have to found. Now this is the valid argument. You want to make your next office, you want to construct a new building, you want to see where your most of your customers are based out of. So this is the valid query that you might want to run. So now let's see what tables we need to carry out this information, to find out this information. City, country, customer count, and total orders. So where do we actually get our orders, order details, like what were the orders about? So if we look at the orders table, so this is the orders table, and so what can we do with this table? So we can find the order ID. So if I count all the unique order IDs, I will have all the numbers of orders, right? Imagine it this way: you go to Big Bazaar, you place an order, and you buy some Parle-G, some milk, and some Maggi. So that will constitute one order, but that order can have different product IDs, right? So one order can comprise of multiple product IDs and multiple quantities of different products. But here we are just considering number of orders. So I can count the number of order IDs and I can count the number of orders. That is the same thing. Similarly, number of customers can be counted from customer ID. If I count the number of customer IDs, I can easily count the number of customers from the city or the country. But what I still need is the city and the country. So where can I draw the city and the country from? So here is a foreign key. What all foreign keys are present in this table? Customer ID, employee ID, and shipper ID. So let's go to the first table. Let's go to the first table whose foreign key we have, whose primary key we have as a foreign key. So the first table would be the customer table, and the customer table we can clearly see that here we have the city and the country. So all we have to do is now we have to start selecting fields. The same fields we need in our output. So the output as it says, so let's look at the output. What we need the city, we need the country, we need the customer count and the total orders. So select city, comma, country, comma, count for me the distinct total number of different types of customer ID as total customer count, and similarly count for me distinct the total order ID. Okay, now SQL is not a case sensitive language, so you can see I am very careless about my field names. However, I am using two tables here. What am I using? I am using two tables here. The first table would be orders and the second table would be customers. The city table, the city field, the field city, as you can see, comes from the customers table. So I will write c.city. Similarly, I will write c.country. This will become very clear why I am writing and what I am writing. Okay, c.country. Count distinct customer ID. Customer ID we are drawing from which table? We are drawing from the orders table. We are counting the different customers ID in the orders table. So o.customer ID and o.order ID, because the order ID column and the customer ID column belongs to the orders table, and the city and the country ID belongs to the city and the country field belongs to the customers table. Now I'm selecting these from a table. So select these fields from orders. But orders is not the only table that I am selecting from. So what I will do is from orders, join customers. Here I have used the name O for orders. So I will say orders space alias name. Alias name is O. Alias is any name that you can use in place of the current name. So the current name is orders, but I have used O here. Here, if you can see, I have used O here. So that is why I have to mention the alias name after a space. So a space, then I have written O. Similarly, after join customers, I have written C. Okay. And then I want all the cities. I don't want all the rows. So what it will do right now is if I print this particular query, let's just run this query. So what it is doing it is showing me for only one city, but I don't want for one city. I want for all the cities. So what it will do is it will group by the city column. That is the first column. Okay. Then I want to group by all the countries. So हर city के लिए उसकी सारी countries group हो जाए. So city, then country, then I will want to, or you can just say city. So group by city and then order by. So what do I want to order my rows by? मेरी rows होंगी अगर एक table में. So what do I want to order them by? Alphabetically city से करना है कि alphabetically country से करना है कि customer count से करना है कि किसका customer count सबसे कम होगा कि किसका customer count सबसे ज़्यादा होगा. Here, since we are trying to hypothesize कि which city do we want to build the new office in, so we want the customer count to be on the top. The most customer count city should be on the top. So we will order by customer count. Okay. So we will order by customer count, and here we can see that the customer count column is the third column. So we will say order by 3. Now I will put a semicolon to end the query and I will run the query. So here you can see it is showing me the output, but something is wrong. Something is wrong. What is wrong? It is showing me all the cities. It is showing me all the cities, but it is showing me alphabetically, and the count and distinct. The count and distinct for all the customer ID and order ID values is the same. It is 74 and 196. So out of all the, so it is definitely counting all the order IDs. It is counting all the order IDs because there are 196 rows in order IDs, but it is not counting distinct order IDs because if there are 196 rows in orders, let's just look at the orders table. So here we can look at the orders table. All the rows are unique and there are 196 rows. Okay. So if there are 196 rows, okay, I lost my query. I'll have to rewrite it. So I'll rewrite the query. Select c.city, c.country, count, distinct, order, distinct, c dot o dot customer ID, comma, count, distinct, o dot order ID from orders to join customers see on. Okay, I didn't write the join state on statement. Okay, so people can see. So yes, if you can see, guys, so what is happening here is that I have clearly drawn all the orders from the orders table because it is counting distinct order IDs. And since the orders table has order ID as the primary key, the primary key, the primary field, all the rows are unique. So there are 196 unique order ID values, and it has correctly given me the right answer. But it is showing that for every city because I have not joined the tables properly. I have not written that join the table on which particular column, which particular field. So if you remember, the orders table had the customer ID as the foreign key, which was the primary key to the customers table. So exactly that particular field, which is the foreign key to another table and is the primary key of that table, you use that key to perform the join. And that key is is the customer ID table of the orders table o dot customer ID. So the customer ID table from the orders table is equivalent to the customer ID table of the customers table of this c dot table. Is this clear? Now if we perform this query, it is correctly showing me the distinct customer ID count, but it is not ordering by descending. So I have to mention here descending and it will do the trick for me. So now it is showing that Mexico has the most amount of orders and the most amount of customers, and the total number of orders made by those customers is 9. Okay, the total amount of orders made by those customers is 9. Is this clear to you guys? Okay, I have questions here. So first answer the question, was this clear? If not, I will explain it again, or otherwise I will try and again explain this. Okay, so the questions are as such. Order ID is the primary key, foreign key, order ID, primary key, mute customer ID is in customers. Why we take O dot customer ID? Okay, can we use C dot customer ID in the first line? We can use from customer join order. Yes. So the questions from Saurabh and Moise, these are very good questions. So why are we drawing customer ID from the orders table when we also have the customers table? So why are we using the O dot customer ID? Let's use C dot customer ID here. Okay, that will clear some doubts. See, it doesn't change your output. Basically, I just uh, chose to write o dot customer id, but you can not write c dot customer id as well. It will only pick those customer ids which are present in the orders table. It doesn't matter which table you choose for the common column. You can choose any and it will still produce the same result. Okay, so that doubt is clear. Now the second question would be, can we use customer IDs and customers in the first line? Can we use from customer join order? Okay, now that brings me to the second part of the second part of the problem, that what if we use select these columns from the customers table, select these columns from the customers table, and we say orders O. Okay, and then we run the SQL. So now will that change the result? Okay, in this case it did not change the result, but I would like to draw your attention to the fact that it can change the results. Okay, I will tell you why. So the answer lies in the question, what is a left join, what is an inner join, and what is a right join. Okay, now we need to look at some diagrams. Left join, right join, inner join. Okay, we need to look at some images. See, this is the parts table. So I will expand this image. No. Any which ways, look at the image here only. So if you can look at the image, this is the parts table. This is the parts table. It has the part name and it has the product number. This is the products table. It has the product number and the price. What is the common table? The product number is the common table. Okay. Now let's look at the individual rows. Let's look at the individual rows. We have the 10 product number here twice, and we have the one product 10 here. Okay, then we have 205, we have 205, we have 30, we have 30, but we don't have 160 from the first table, and we don't have 505 from the second table in the first table. Okay, these are the two different rows. What happens when I do a left outer join? When I do a left outer join, if you want to imagine a left join, if you want to imagine a left join and you want to see what a left join is, see, this is a left join. This is a full left join. When there are A, when there is A has some rows common with B. Then all the rows of A that are not in B, that is this part, plus all the rows of A that are also present in B. So a left join means the left circle, that is all the rows of A that is not common to B and plus common to B. A left outer join, this is a complete left join. If you can see my cursor, this is a complete left join. All the rows present in A. This is a left outer join. This is a left outer join. All the rows of A that are not present in B. So for example, if I say A left join B, A left join B, then no matter what columns I select, no matter what columns I select, I will always get the rows that are not present in table B. So 10 is present, 205 is present, 30 is present. So I will get 160. So that would be left outer join. Okay. Then full join would be, so similarly a full join would be all the rows of A and all the rows of B that are not present in A. So 10, 10, 205, 30, 160, then 505. 10, 205, 30 are already covered, so we will not say that. So 10, 205, 30, 160, and 505. That would be full join. And a right join would be all the rows of B that are not included in A. A right join, that is the full circle B, would be all the rows of B that are not included in A plus all the rows of B that are included in A. Similarly, when you are saying here in the left join, when you are saying that I am joining the customer C on orders O, it is automatically assuming that you are taking all the rows of the customers table. You are taking all the rows of the customers table, but you're not taking all the rows of the orders table. You are taking all the rows of the customers table that are common, that are in customers table, and that are also present in the orders table. But if you are switching the orders and customers ID here, if you are saying that I am joining orders and join customers, then you are saying left join orders to customers. It is not the same thing as left join customers to orders. Is this understood? This is a very important topic, and writing left and right here means something. But do you understand what is actually happening? See, I just added one keyword left. I just added one keyword left, and it automatically changed the number of records. It automatically changed the number of records from 58 to 69. See, it is 69 currently with left join typed. And if I remove the word left join, then it is performing some random join. I think it is performing inner join only, and that would mean it is 58. Let's write inner here and let's see if it works. Inner, yes, it is performing an inner join. If I perform a right join here, then it won't be able to perform a right join because it is currently not supported. So you can only perform a left join or an inner join. So currently it is performing an inner join, and now it is performing a left join. So when you perform a left join, you have more number of rows. Is this understood? The right and the left and the outer and the inner joins. Others, if it is clear, please say yes in the comment box. If it is not, you can re-request it. I will explain it once again in a different manner. Okay, guys, can you hear me, please? Say yes. I just got connected. It got disconnected in the middle. Okay, so now I think I'm done with joins. I will say a few more things about SQL, and I think then I'll be done. So let's just say if I want to see what is the average order count, what is the average, what is the average number of orders per customer in every country? What is the average number of orders in by a customer in the country? So if a person is ordering one time, 1.5 times, what is the number? So how will I find that? So essentially, if you can see here, I just need to divide this 9 by 6. So as long as I divide this 9 by 6, I am fine. I can do this. Okay. So what I will do here is I will say count distinct o dot order ID. Then I will copy this whole thing. Should do the trick. Okay. decimal, how do you, so essentially it's a typecasting problem. I think I'm calculating it right. So if I'm able to typecast it, I will have to see how to typecast decimal casting. casting. So if I essentially cast this as decimal, so I think that should do the trick. So for decimal, it would be decimal. Oh God. Okay, somehow it's still not working, but that would not be a problem in the interviews if you just show the division, it should be fine. That's what's called a calculated field. That if you define this as a calculated field, then you can convert this to. Okay, whatever, it's not working. So essentially, this is a calculated field that you can use or that you can create based on the two inherently calculated fields or two fields that you have been using within the query. Okay, so that is one thing they ask in the interviews. Perform a join. So the interview questions that you will guess will be: perform a join. What are calculated fields? Can you find out this metric for me? If let's just say you have a customers table and an orders table, so they might give you this orders table, the schema of the orders table. They might write the schema of the orders table. They might write the schema of the customers table, and then they may ask you to perform the join. Okay, they may ask you to perform the join, and then you have to perform the join, and you may be asked to calculate some calculated field or order it in descending or ascending order or whatever the variations can be. Okay, one thing you can also do is that, see, the whole name of the field is count distinct c customer id, so that is not what you want. So what you will say is count the distinct customer id as underscore customer underscore count. Okay, and then if I run my SQL, it will show me the new variable name and it will not show me the complete variable calculation that I have written here. Okay, one more thing that I want to point out is that city and country, here are the grouping statements. Here are the grouping fields. You are grouping the rows based on their city and country. That is for which, for each city and country, you want to count the number of customers and you want to count the number of orders. That is how you view the whole thing. Okay, now if you are not grouping by a particular column, you should always perform some aggregate function. What are aggregate functions? They are sum, count, max, min. Some aggregate function should be performed on the other variables that are included in the select statement. That is a compulsion while writing the SQL queries. Otherwise, it will throw an error. Okay, that is the idea. Now, here it is a basic example of how you should write queries. Is this clear until now? What will they ask in the interviews? How will they ask it? You may be asked to perform a join on a table, on any hypothetical table. This query is a very good query that you can write in your interview and you will be good to go. Okay, so this is one kind of interview question that they ask, and one kind of SQL concept that you have to practice. Okay, this may also be asked in the placement tests, in which they ask interview questions, in which they ask SQL questions. Okay, More SQL questions I will share on the group. I will share with you a resource. In fact, the paid resource that has been shared for SQL practice already has all the links for all the SQL practice that you might need. I'll be discussing some of those questions tomorrow. Okay, but still we are yet not done. One small thing remains. Let's just say if I delete all this, if I delete all this, in fact, let's start a new query. If I write select star from this, and then I write select star from orders. In fact, I say select order ID from orders where customer ID like %6. Okay, now I will say select star from this or select order ID from this. Now I'll run my SQL. Okay, now can somebody tell me in the comment section, now please can somebody tell me in the comment section, what have I written here? What is this called? This is called by a specific name in which you are selecting or operating on columns from a query that is written within the brackets of a from statement. That is, your table is itself a query. What do you call this particular entire structure? This is called by a name. If you very well know the name, please write it in the comment box. This is a very important query structure that is asked in the interviews. Basically, what I am doing here is that I am asking a query from a table, and through the result of that query, I am processing another query. That is, this query is drawing from the result of a query, right? This is called a nested query or a subquery. Queries can be operated on themselves. For example, you can draw on the orders table and then you can again draw on the orders table in the select statement here. You can, as I've done here, I have called the orders table and I have called all the customer IDs which have 6 in the end, and I have listed the order ID. If I don't list the order IDs, then it will list the entire table for me, right? No, I have already selected order ID. So what I will do is I will select star and here I will write select star. So what it will show me, it will show me all the columns. However, if I select only one column here, then it will show me only one column, and that would be the order ID. So it is showing me now only the order ID. So it is giving me a query, and from that query I am drawing another result. This is called a subquery or a nested query. Yes, very well said. It is nested query or subquery. So Vidit Tripathi said, can you repeat the last part? Vidit, can you please say which was the last part? I'm sorry, I missed that. Everybody else understood. That's very well. Now, is subqueries and nested queries clear to you guys? If yes, then you have cleared a major portion of SQL. I will be giving you an assignment. You can do the 6 questions of the assignment on the Try It SQL editor. All the instructions that you might need for the assignment are already there in the assignment. Please feel free to reach out if in case you run with errors. We can schedule calls. You can ask the doubts on the group. I will be happy to answer those. But please ask your questions on the group and please do attempt the assignment. Also, if you have any queries right now with me, you can ask, not SQL queries. I'm sorry, everything. Anything about SQL queries, anything about data, anything you want to ask, you can ask right now. Vidit Tripathi, could you please repeat what you want me to repeat? I didn't get which last part you are mentioning regarding the error thrown from right join. The error it threw from right join is because this is an online SQL editor. Generally, SQL is ran on servers And when you run it on servers, it is written in different consoles and different environments. For example, I write my SQL queries in SAS programs. But here, the SQL queries are being written on an online editor hosted by W3 schools. It is just a functionality issue that they don't offer right joins on their platform. So all you have to do is do the left join. If the left join is not doing for you, flip the order of the tables and it will essentially be a right join. Can you please show another example of nested query? Okay, I can definitely show that. Let me think of one. Okay, Mahesh, look at this example. So, okay. So here, what did you have? Here in this question, what did you have? You had city, country, customer count, and total orders, right? Now, what you want to do is, you want to find out the total number of you want to find out the order details. You want to find out the order details of all the customers who are present in the top 3 cities. Okay, who are present in the top 3 cities. Now what you will do is you will essentially write your first query, whatever that elaborate query was, which was the answer to this first question. The first question says that city, country, customer count, total orders. We already found that out with the big query. Now I write that big query and I find a list of all the cities, a list long, 69 records long, right? But I want top 3. So what I will say is limit by 3. I will say limit by 3. It will limit my cities to 3. Now I will say select 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 star from orders, select star from orders where city in now I will say select star select city from c dot city from city from customers c join orders o on o dot order id c dot order id and okay and select city comma order id no customers id c dot customer id start. Okay, so now what I've done here is I've written essentially that give me all the cities and give me their customer ID count. That is the number of customers present there. How do you do this? You choose the customers table, choose the orders table, perform the join, and then give me order ID, and then perform the join on order ID, group by one, that is group by the city, order by the customer ID count, and limit all this to 3. And then when you are limiting this to 3, if the city is present in this particular list, then select all the orders. Then select all the orders where the city, and if you go to the orders table, there is no city column. So essentially, okay, you cannot write where city is in, but you can write customer ID is in that particular customer ID. So what you could have essentially written in the select star from the select statement, where the customer ID is in that select new query. Is the subquery clear now? What if there are some null values in the grouping? Yes, there will be null values. Where will be null values? If you are trying to fetch values from the second table for a value that is only present in the first table, it will always give you null values. So if you are performing a left join, you are trying to write, or if you are performing a full outer join, a full join, that is all the rows of A plus all the rows of B that are not common to A. So if you are performing a full join, what will happen is you will have some row IDs. In which there will be no value in the columns that are only present in table A. There will only be values in the columns that are only present in table B, because for those row IDs, those are not present in table A. So for those columns that are not present in table, for all the row IDs that are not present in table A, there will be no values in the columns of table A. So those will be null values. So that is when you will get null values. Saurabh, is your question clear? And Nikhil, did you get another example of nested query? You can get the result of one query, and then what you can essentially do is you can use a subset, or you can use it as a filtering criteria. For example, all the customers who have spent in 2018, can be listed in the result of a query, and then operations can be performed on those customers based on 2018. Or for examples, all the customers who are active in 2018, give me their this year, give me their 2020 spend. So all the customer IDs who were active in 2018, you will have different query for them, and then from the current transaction data, you will draw their answers regarding their 2020 spend. So that is how you define a nested query. Did I answer your question, Nikhil? And also Saurabh, did I answer your question? Where will be null values? If it is going beyond you, if it is like, okay, you're not getting what am I saying, you can tell me, please explain with examples. Okay, I will try to find a better example for you.